So far in our cumulative case, we have the biblical argument under our belts, as well as the discussion of early church history. In this episode, I want to talk about the logical or empirical argument. When it comes to nonviolence, most people would be saying, logical? Nonviolence just doesn't seem like a logical position to take. It's not at all the way that the world works. In our world, evil prevails if good men do nothing, and to not do violence is often to do nothing. So let's start first with what intuition tells us. Now you might be saying, yeah, wait a second, intuition isn't empirical or logical. While I get that, you have to understand that this is a Christian argument. And if you're a Christian, you believe that God created the world in such a way, and humanity in such a way, that we probably have certain deep-seated intuitions that are going to show themselves which align with the world that God created. We often call this intuition a conscience, and Christians often point to Romans 1 as a great example of the way that God created us with consciences. You can probably see this intuition of nonviolence or the avoidance of killing the best in s.l.a. Marshall's work, Men Against Fire. Marshall was a leader in World War II, and he noticed that, hey, a lot of times most of the guys on the line, even in the face of the enemy, aren't shooting at the enemy. Marshall and others did a bunch of research and found that, yeah, most of the people, even in the face of battle, in the face of the enemy, don't fire or fire their weapons well above their enemies' heads. They shoot to miss. We have evidence at least as far back as the Prussians that this was going on even then. Go figure that people's consciences just tell them it's not good to kill somebody else, even somebody who's trying to kill me. We also get a lot of logical evidence when we take a look at things like psychoses in soldiers and people who are put in the face of violence. David Grossman's work on killing talks a lot about this. One of the most interesting findings from his research is that people had psychoses at a much higher level when they were put in a position to kill somebody as opposed to just being put into a dangerous situation. Is that psychoses were much higher among soldiers than they were amongst civilians who are in very dangerous situations, like being in bombed-out cities. It's not death and danger that give people psychoses nearly as much as it is being put in a position to dehumanize somebody else. Moral injury is a growing field of research which is writing a lot about how soldiers face psychoses. Finally, there's work by Erica Chenoweth in her book, Why Civil Resistance Works. It shows non-violence to be twice as likely to work.